In this video, we're going to take a look at the people and systems model and how we configure it with cost and capacity for roles and for systems. You access this model here in the organization view card from the menu and also from the models dropdown, people and systems. We're inside the demo organization so that you can take a look and follow along and use this as an example to build out your own resources for your own models. So the first thing to realize is that this view of our resources is built for us based on the models that we are creating. So if we go and take a quick look at the new customer account model, if we dive in here, we can see that we have defined the customer services rep using Excel to perform this update email address action. So this relationship where Excel is used by the customer services rep role, that is represented for us in this people and systems model. Here's customer services rep and here is Excel. So we do not need to define this relationship. However, if we want to make resources available for people to use in our models, we can do that. We can drag a role, I'll just call it new role, into our model. We can drag a system, we'll call it new system, into our model. And if I save this and then go back into one of my models and I bring a new system and a new role into the model, I will be able to select these from this dropdown. So there's new role that we just created. And if I select the system, here's new system from that dropdown list. Now, when I say this system is used by this role, this relationship will be built for us inside our people and systems model. So let's save and go back. And here is the new relationship that we've created. New systems used by the new role. Now, I can't delete this from here because you can see the error message. It says that this relationship is being used in models. So we maintain the relationship between systems and roles, and we represent it here in this model for you. So the next aspect is capacity and cost. So each of these roles can carry a capacity. We do that by selecting the role, going down into the properties panel. Here you can see the capacity section. I click the message, and now I can say this role works for 7 hours and 30 minutes each workday for 52 weeks of the year. And I have now just built a capacity against that role that we are consuming when we use it to perform actions in our models. I might have more than one person in that role. So against costs, I can say I've got 10 people. And here I can also define the annual cost per person. And I can also choose if it's more appropriate to have an hourly rate for these people. But I have said that there are 10 people in this role. They all have the same salary. They all have the same capacity. So this is the simplest level of defining capacity for roles. Against the system, I'm able to say this is the annual cost per person. It knows I have 10 people because I've defined that in the role. So this might cost me $50 per person per annum for this new system. Equally, I might have an hourly or a fixed annual cost for that system. So this is how we define capacity and cost at this role and system level. But there is another level of detail that we can go to, and you can see in the demo org, we've introduced some named individuals and we've connected them to the roles. And in order to do this, I drag either a person or a team from the palette. I say who they are, and then I go to properties and I define the capacity for them. So here's me. I might just work 8 hours every workday. I might work for 45 weeks of the year if I think about annual leave, sick leave, and public holidays. This has defined a capacity for me as an individual, but I am in this GIS team, so I can drag an edge and I can add my capacity into this team. So once I choose to use individuals or teams and be more specific about cost and capacity of individuals, the role capacity and cost is created from the sum of the individuals that we are allocating to that role. So once you start to put an individual in, you have to finish it off in order to have a complete capacity against a role. So just be aware that that's a requirement. I can split people between roles. Here's an example. Here's Hillary. She has a capacity that's been defined 1,700 hours per year, and she has two edges, one that goes to marketing admin role, one goes to product marketing. And inside the properties panel, you can see we have roles section, and I can define the percentage split of her time in each of these roles. So we can get very granular about the individuals we have in the organization, the capacity that they have, and the cost that they create for our organization, and we can determine which roles that they perform, which are then consumed in our models. So that's another level of detail that we can go to in terms of allocating out cost and capacity for roles. The systems we've already looked at, we can select a system and we can complete in the properties panel its cost. So the additional level of detail we're able to configure here is what is the infrastructure that is required to enable this system to run. We have three infrastructure nodes, a general infrastructure node, a on-premise infrastructure node, and a cloud infrastructure node. And you simply drag these onto the model, and then you drag an edge and you connect them up to the systems that that particular infrastructure supports. This is where we carry Carbon. We cover this in more detail in the Carbon configuration onboarding video, so please go and watch that if you want to understand how to define these emission factors and what that means in terms of direct and indirect emissions. With this level of detail now configured at the organization level for roles and systems, we can access insights for all of the data across all of our models. So here I am just in the charts panel, and I've selected role, and I could build a cost bar chart for all of the roles that I have been consuming through my models. This becomes even more interesting when we have that capacity defined, because we can now assess the workload on each of our roles. And in this example, within the demo org, you can see marketing admin here have a deficit of 79 hours. That means that they do not have enough capacity to do the work that we have defined in the models. So please go and take a look, use the demo org to help you, and get in touch with us if you need any support in terms of configuring out your role and system cost and capacity for your organization.